always wanted to have a video you can show your customers on what kind of settings they can and should do, or you're a PV system owner and you always wanted to know what kind of settings you can or should do, then this webinar is for you. Today, we're going to look at the different versions of Solar.web. We're going to look at the Solar.web app, at the browser version, what kind of settings you can do in each, and we're going to connect to the inverter interface and see what kind of settings you can do with your battery system. But who's with you today? My name is Magdalena, and I will tell you everything about the settings today. And behind the camera is my colleague Tony, who you probably already know, and he will answer your questions for you. So those are the different kind of Solar.web versions that we have. We have a desktop version, which is ultimately the browser version. We have an app version for solar monitoring to go. And we're gonna look at all the different options today. This is what the desktop visualization looks like. We're not gonna really talk about what you can see and about the monitoring today. We're just gonna focus on the settings. Moreover, we're also not going to talk about what you can see in the app visualization. We're just going to talk about the settings. But if you want to see, for example, how the Solar.web app works and what you can do with it, there is a webinar on YouTube. It's called Solar.web Explained Simply, where you will get all the information regarding the Solar.web app. But let's talk about the different kinds of Solar.web memberships that you can have. There is a free version. It displays the production and consumption at a daily, monthly, and yearly resolution and covers the entire lifetime of your PV system. Also, you can easily manage a large number of PV systems. You can get automatic notifications and have regular reports, and also you will be able to do remote updates. But what does Premium offer? Premium offers individually customizable reports. It offers extended analyzing options with additional data. You have a permanent overview of electricity consumption for cost control. Moreover, it displays the PV profitability, and you have a production forecast as it is connected to a really good weather data source, which will be displayed at the bottom. Also, with Premium, we are able to support flexible tariffs, and in many countries we have the energy cost assistant that will help you optimize your PV system for your needs. But let's look at the Solar.web app. In the Solar.web app, when you open it and there is an update to be done, you will already see it. There is no way you will miss an update ever again if you use the Solar.web app, as it will be displayed at the very top of the overview page, and via a link it will guide you to the update to Solar.web, the browser version, where you will be able to do the update remotely. Moreover, in the web app, you will be able to use battery control, which is at the very bottom of the overview app overview page. The battery control is like, nowadays you often get notifications if there's bad weather to be expected in the next few days. Battery control, you can activate battery control to fully charge your battery, whether there is surplus energy or if they take it from the grid. It just fully charges your battery, then blocks it for 24 hours from discharging in preparation of a power outage. You can always deactivate the battery control again, and you will be able to see until which time the battery is blocked. But that's mostly the settings that you can do in the app version. There are many more settings that you can do in the web version. So we're going to take a look at this now. So this is a demo version where you can see the bubble chart that you probably already know. You can see production, and a very good point is that you can see earnings, but this is only, you can only see the earnings if you put tariffs in, and we're gonna look at how you can do that today. So we're just gonna go to settings, and we're gonna start with the operation mode. In the operation mode, this is where you can activate the energy cost assistant. We're not going to talk in detail about how to set it up today. There is a how-to video on YouTube. If you just put in Fronius how-to energy cost assistant, you will be able to find it. And then it will guide you step by step on how to activate it. Also, if you want your earnings shown at the front, in the front at the overview section, and you want your PV rentability to be exact, here you can put in tariffs where you have reference tariffs with a Fronius smart meter. You can add standard tariffs, and with the premium option, you will be able to add very flexible tariffs. Also, to know about your earnings, you should put in feed-in tariffs, so the system knows what you will, how much you will be compensated for feeding into the grid. The more up to date this is, the better your system can will be able to know your PV rentability. If we go to permissions, this is where you will be able to add other people to your PV system. You can give them different kind of rights. You can give them guest rights, which means they will be only able to read. This is a read-only modus where they can see the production, the weather forecast, how your system, everything basically that you can see, but they will not be able to make any changes in the settings. You will also be able to give supervisor rights, and supervisors will be able to make some changes in the settings. This works if you just go on to add. This doesn't work because it's a demo version, but usually you would just go to add. Then you have to put in the email address of the person you want to add. You have to choose if you want to add guest rights or supervisor rights. And then they will get an email, which is valid for 7 days. They have to click on the link and to accept the invitation that is sent out, and afterwards they will be added to the system. If they don't answer the invitation in 7 days, you as a PV system owner can then decide to resend the invitation or cancel the invitation. Also, as a PV owner, it is only your right to remove people from the system. So only you can remove persons that you don't want no longer to watch your system. Under components, you will be able to see all your devices. You see the battery that is there, the energy meters, and you will also be able to do updates. This will be displayed here in a red button that says update. You just have to click on it and then you can do the update. Also, this is the place here where you will be able to connect to the inverter itself. It's usually under the pilot, and on the right side you will have 3 dots where you then can connect to the inverter interface. As this is a demo, I'll just go into the inverter interface. And we're going to look at some settings that you can do here. So this is usually the overview page that you will see once you connect to your inverter. And then you can go to energy management, battery management, to the SOC settings. And this is where you can change your reserve capacity. The SOC minimum and SOC maximum is just how much of your battery can use. And you should always leave it on automatic with 0 to 100 in order to be able to use the full capacity of your battery. But the reserve capacity is the capacity that will only be taken if there is no connection to the grid. So usually this is what the battery keeps in order of if there is a power outage. So you can choose, maybe in summer, we would leave this very low, as we also know if there's no connection to the grid, that the next day is usually a sunny day, so there will be production and the battery will get charged again. But maybe in winter you can put it a little bit higher, because you might not be able to charge your battery that much if there is no connection to the grid. But be aware that if you leave it at 50%, for example, then you will not be able to use 50% of your battery, except there is no connection to the grid, as it will keep it as a reserve capacity. So this will also cut into your PV rentability. So maybe choose to switch it if you think there might be a power outage, but you can also do it via the battery control in the Solar.web app, and keep it low in summer if you know you don't need that much reserve capacity. Maybe put it on 40% in winter. And once you've made a change, you will have to save it in order for it to not be lost once you leave the page. You can also then adjust the SOC warning level. Maybe you only want to know it at 30%, and then we save. If you want to charge your battery from the grid, then please don't remove the battery charging from other sources, as if this is turned off, you cannot charge your battery from the public grid. So your technician usually will put this in with you, and you shouldn't change it. Moreover, if you have flexible tariffs, and you know that during the night you will get a lot of it will be good to discharge your battery, because you will get more for feeding into the grid, and you're not using our energy cost assistant, then here it is able to put some time-dependent controls, so you can choose to charge or discharge your battery. Maybe if you know that feeding in is really good at the moment, then you put in a discharge that you want to happen, maybe 500 watt from 1 to 3 in the morning. And then you can choose which days you want it to happen. And then you can add it. When you put in time-dependent control, every Tuesday your battery will discharge with at least 500 watt from 1 to 3 in the morning. So if you use flexible tariffs, this is not guaranteed that it will happen every Tuesday. So maybe you are really, really interested in your PV system, you want to make the most of it and keep your autonomy, then you can choose to do it this way. Other way, it's just easier and more relaxing if you use our energy cost assistant, if you're already using Solar.web Premium. Yeah, and don't forget to save. I will mention that a lot. If we look into the load management. Here you can define some rules for your for different kind of loads. Maybe the number one load that we usually would put in here is a pool pump, as this is something that you want to run every day, that needs to run for long hours and just makes sense to be used with power surplus. So we put in power surplus. And once we have a surplus of, for example, 1 kilowatt, if we want it to start, and if the surplus goes back to 500 watt, we want it to stop. Or we can choose to let it run for a duration. We can have a desired duration we want it to run. So maybe once per day for 60 minutes, or we want it to run per day for 180 minutes, so 3 hours. And we want the pool pump to at least run for 3 hours until like 7 o'clock in the evening. Then it doesn't only use the surplus, but it will also use power from the grid to make sure your pool pump will run at least once per day for 3 hours. Yeah, the desired duration cannot be more than the maximum duration that you put in. Oh, now it works. And at the top, then you can choose your priorities. So maybe in summer, your pool pump is the top priority, or in winter, the battery has the most priority, or even the heat pump. Then you can just go to those dots and push it to the desired location. And save. You can also make some changes on the self-consumption optimization. We recommend to leave it an automatic, as it will automatically try to use all your PV energy in your household. But if you choose to say you don't want the household maximized, you want to maximize feeding in, then you can do some changes here too. But we always recommend leaving out automatic, as it just makes the most sense. If you have a PV system, you can get the most out of your PV system if you use the energy yourself. And now, those are the settings that you can do with your battery. If we go back to Solar.web, there's also the function of reports. You can create reports if you need them. You will be able to create a PV production report, energy balance total, subsidy report for storage system, and if you use premium, you will also be able to create custom reports if you might need them. We recommend using the file format MS Excel, as it is the most everyone uses. You can use as a data source, you can use daily sums or detail values. You can give your report a name, maybe monthly report, or maybe month April. You can generate it automatically, so you give an interval like daily, weekly, or monthly, or you can do it manually, and then you can choose a time range in which you want included in your report. And then you can choose the channels which you want to be included in your report. So those are the functions, those are the settings that you can do in your system, that you also just make sense to maybe do them seasonally to optimize your PV system for your needs. Also, if you want to know more about the Solar.web app, this is the link that where you can find it. Or if you want to know how to set up the energy cost assistant, this is where you will be able to find it. If you want to have more information, this is you can always go onto the Fronius.com page into the download area where you will find all kinds of information. If you're an installer, please feel free to come to our face-to-face trainings, webinars, and for everyone, we have our YouTube how-to videos on YouTube that you can always watch to get more information. So thank you for your attention. Have a lot of fun changing some settings in your PV system, and maybe we'll see you soon here at Fronius. Thanks.